Welcome, everybody. It's Jim Norris at Backstage Insider. Very fortunate today to have John Mlynczak from NAMM coming to us from sunny California. Mind you, where I am in Niagara Falls, it's actually pretty sunny today. It's about 80 degrees today, so we've had a very good September. I can't complain at all. So, um, I think the first thing I'd like you to, John, just to mention to people that don't know much about the NAM is what NAM does currently, and then a little bit about the history as well.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Jim. I'm glad to be one of the first few guests on the podcast and excited to talk to all your listeners here. Like I said, my name is John Mlynczak. I'm the president and CEO of NAMM, the National Association of Music Merchants. We are a nonprofit membership association and a nonprofit charitable foundation, the NAMM Foundation as well. That's mission is to strengthen the music products industry and promote the pleasures and benefits of making music. We were founded in 1901. We will be celebrating 125 years in existence in 2026. And we are most known for the NAMM Show, which is the world's largest music products trade show held in January in Anaheim, California. And the NAMM Show will bring together this year around 70,000 people from 125 countries, over 1,800 companies exhibiting over 5,000 brands. And it is a massive global gathering for everything that is music gear related. And the NAMM Show is just serves multiple communities at its core. The NAMM Show is a trade show, so it's exhibitors, manufacturers exhibiting new products, launching new products for their distributors and their buyers and their retailers. But just as important are the influencers, the media, the artists, the educators that get to see the products, to learn about them, to become evangelists for musical products worldwide. And that's what's been really exciting about the growth of the NAMM Show. And of course, since it's a music products trade show and not an insurance trade show, we also have a lot of fun. Though I've never been to an insurance trade show, so maybe they have fun at those too. I don't know. But at the NAMM Show, we have bands, we have over 187 performances and outside of the main stage that happens every night. So we have some incredible performance, incredible artists. We have world-class education for all segments of the industry, whether it's pro audio, light, sound, retail. So it's just an amazing event. When we're not doing the NAMM Show, we operate as, of course, an association and a foundation. We work on all sorts of policy issues to help serve music products companies worldwide. That can be ranging from music education policy to tariff policy to global trade policy to compliance. We do workforce development to help make sure that folks see the music industry as a career field. We engage with our NAMM members worldwide on all sorts of of these issues and all sorts of these opportunities we create. And we give back through the NAMM Foundation. We grant, we give back over $1 million a year to the industry through grants, scholarships, and awards to make sure that we are creating more music makers across the world.
Wow, that's that keeps you busy, I bet. Sure.
There's never there's never a dull moment here. I'm glad you said it's sunny in California. I can see the sun, but I don't get a lot of vitamin D, but it's a wonderful team. We have an amazing team here. We work, people always ask like the NAMM show is so busy, but you ask the staff here, like we always joke like when is it not busy? But there's a lot we can do, and we can probably get into all that's going on in our global industry right now. Macroeconomics and, global disruptions and all of that affects our industry. And we do everything we can to help support members and keep our industry strong.
It's amazing that started in 1901. You think of what the world was like then.
Yeah.
And the fact that NAMM has been around that long, like not much of anything's been around that long, and through all the depressions and recessions and two world wars and all kinds of political ups and downs, and it's pretty incredible that the it's quite a history and a legacy that you've been charged with, which with moving ahead. I've been going to the show since well, 45, 46 years. Of course, it's changed a lot with things like MIDI and all the digital recording and the internet and cellular technology. Now with, AI is the one of the big words nowadays. It's incredible really when you think of, because 1901, I mean, it was mostly pianos, I
It was
guess.
all piano.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give you the quick. So we're doing a whole I'll tell you you want a backstage insider secret that I haven't told anyone yet
Okay.
is we will be unveiling. One thing we've been working on in preparation for our 125th anniversary is a really beautiful presentation of the industry's timeline. And so
Okay.
we have an amazing resource department. We have historical archives all the way back to 1901, and we've been digitizing with not only digitized artifacts, but also going back to like oral histories that we've been collecting from folks that were around at certain times. They can talk about the history, and we have this amazing timeline. But in 1901, it was piano dealers. It was U.S. based piano dealers.
Right.
So it was the National Association of Piano Dealers of America, DA. And in 1919, the name was formally changed to NAMM, the National Association of Music Merchants. And in 1901, if you wanted to play music, had a piano. 25% of one out of every four people in the country could play piano. That's how you learn music. And you had sheet music, you had pianos, and you had stores that sold them. And then obviously there was a need for an association of piano dealers, and a lot of it at the time in 1901. Some of the first issues was we need to come together, and they used to actually sell stamps to make sure they were like, NAPTA approved pianos. Like the dealers were uniting around the sale of pianos to make sure that, like, at the time, Chinese counterfeit pianos weren't being sold. Like you were a member of an association, and you agreed to only sell like the reputable products and work together across the country as piano dealers. And then Victrola in 1917 came out with the talking machine records. So, you're talking like NAMM was started pre-records. Well, now, if you could put on a record and crank and listen to music for, relatively affordable price in your home, then that threatened the sale and learning of piano. And
Wow.
so, the dealers of the piano said, well, do we want to sell these, new, this new technology called the talking machine? And of course they said, yeah, we are the shop. So they changed the name to Music Merchants to open up space for them to not only sell pianos, but eventually, all kinds of, gizmos and gadgets. And then the history of NAMM is told through, musical innovation and really just, global activities, whether good or bad. You have a recession, so dealers have to work together. And, how do we keep music? So jaw harps and harmonicas were real popular as affordable ways to play music. Piano dealers during the recession figured out that they could help. Late in the 20s, actually, commercial washing machines and commercial refrigerators came out. And so the dealers found out a way to stay in business. People aren't buying luxury pianos anymore, but they're definitely buying this new technology, which was a commercial refrigerator. And so they had the equipment to move heavy refrigerators because they had the equipment to move pianos. So even
Wow.
in the recession, the dealers are moving there. And then you go through, out of World War II, a lot of technology is invented during wartime, and same with World War One. But you look at like radar, was World War One invention. World War Two, a lot of technology comes out of that. So the great boom of technology, of course, started after World War Two. A lot of innovation in music making that led into 70s and 80s. You have electronic music. Of course, you had the baby boom in the U.S. where music education became really, really important, and NAMM was at the forefront of that, making sure that music was taught in schools for the children of the great baby boom generation. And from there, it's just an amazing history of, yeah, big, high interest rates, recession in the 80s, but then you have like Nirvana and grunge rock in the 90s. And so the Beatles come on TV, and all of a sudden everyone wants to play piano, drums, bass, guitar. At one point you could walk into a shopping mall in the 70s and there'd be a home organ shop, Lowry's Organ Shop. And then not anyone today probably knows what a home organ even is. So you have segments of the industry that are dominating and then that just disappear. And you just trace the history all the way through, a great new musical style that comes out that makes a huge, boom in the industry. And then, global the 2008 recession was really hard on the music industry. 9/11, you look at all the various times in history where we struggled, COVID, of course. So it's a story of resiliency, and it's a story of people will always find a way to make music.
For sure.
And that's what's really that's why I truly believe that we are the longest running trade association.
Yeah, I mean, you know, people get all panicked about the ups and downs, but there's been music for thousands of years, various forms, and there will be for the next few thousands of years. It's hard to even imagine what it'll be like by then, but the point is people love listening to music and they like going to see music live and a lot of us like to play music, so it's great. So just a bit about your own background. What was your a quick 5-minute summary of how you got where you are?
Yeah, for me, I'm like if you asked Chat GPT or Claude or whatever your AI tool of choice, you ask them to generate the like absolute quintessential like band kid music nerd, had as I say that lovingly, it would draw me. I mean, I was a kid that like just loved playing anything I can like make sound on. We had grandma's piano in the house. My dad was always playing the guitars. We had guitars laying around. We had you go to your grandparents' house, they had a piano in the house, or they had an electronic keyboard, or my grandfather had a fiddle, like everything. Like I just wanted to play, play, play. And in school, it was like, well, what is your elective? I never had a choice. Like I never got electives as a kid because it was like I'm doing band. I'm doing band class. Like so I played I started on trombone and got smart, played trumpet eventually. There's a brass player joke in there somewhere. So I just grew up and I went through college as a music major and I became a music teacher and I was, gigging and playing music. I was gonna, the whole path was gonna be a trumpet player. And you get out there and you realize very quickly nobody really needs trumpet at 9:30 a.m. on a Tuesday. They tend to need it like Thursday, Friday night, Saturday. So teach music during the day, you gig all weekend, and it's a great life. And then I think from there I got involved in teaching music. I was lucky enough to be right on the cusp. Like I'm one of those people that grew up right where, like, cassette tapes were a thing when I was in elementary school. The CD came out when I was in middle school, and
Right.
then when I was early college, that's when Napster and LimeWire all came out, and then so I, like, saw this evolution of analog to digital music making and technology, and by the time I started teaching, the iPad had come out with GarageBand on every iPad, and my school had a MacBook cart, and I'm like, "Wait, I have a music creation tool on every MacBook." So I bribed the math teacher to let me use the MacBooks to teach music technology, because they were only allowed for math class, but I finagled that the music tech class can be during her lunch break, and if I moved the cart and made sure I plugged them all back in, they were charged for her class, she let me use it. So I, started teaching music technology, and for there was, like, this path of my career that really got into, like, always wanted to be innovative and what's next, and watching the product evolution of the way people listen and create music, and teaching it became really exciting. I was on the forefront of that, and then I got involved through there just through that work, I got involved with PreSonus Audio, who at the time was also on the forefront of software and hardware and iPad integration, and I was living in, Louisiana in Baton Rouge. They're based in Baton Rouge, so we just started talking, and next thing you know, I was hired to be an education manager for a company in the music industry. And I was like, this sounds great. And I started January 1st of 2013. And they said, buy a ticket to LA, you're going to the NAMM show. And I said, what's a NAMM show? And I went to my first NAMM show and I saw an industry full of people that make and create and sell and teach and learn and perform on all these products. And my mind was absolutely blown. And I went all in on everything I could do with NAMM. I took advantage of being involved with the Support Music Coalition. I took advantage of being involved on the advocacy side with the foundation. I was doing presentations at the NAMM show, just really just took advantage of every opportunity the industry gave us and every opportunity that NAMM, created through what they do. And when this job came open for 2023, I just was very lucky to be the right guy at the right time, I guess.
For
So
sure.
I'm very, very, very blessed to have the career I've had.
Yeah, and you, you took over from, a legacy of NAMM CEOs and presidents. I mean, I've known a few of them, go back 40, 45 years,
You know both these guys on my picture, Jim, and I keep two things behind me. I keep this great picture of myself, Joe Lamont, and Larry Lincoln that we took at the first in 2023 on stage together.
right,
And then if you, it's funny, the baton up there is something a dear friend of mine gave me as a gift when I started this job that said, "Hey, here," because I talked about passing the baton of 125 years. And so they actually made me an official Olympic baton of NAMM and passed it on. So I think a lot about, I mean, I'm the fourth CEO of NAMM since 1947. So it's longevity, and that's, it's something that, of course, Joe Lamont did an amazing job of his 22, 23 years, and Larry Lincoln for 20 years, and Bill Guard for 37 years before that.
yeah.
Just a great legacy of leaders, and I take that very seriously.
And they were all, the others that I knew were certainly all different people. Like they brought, I think Larry Lincoln was the first person I knew, and then Joe, of course. That they had different skills, different personality, completely, but they both brought a lot to the position, and certainly enthusiasm for NAMM and for music and for what they had to do. But very, you couldn't typecast them at all. They were both so different in terms of the way they did things, and that you bring different background and skills as well, which is really good to see.
Well, I think what NAMM's done a good job, and I'm lucky enough to stay in touch with Joe a lot and talk to Larry Lincoln as well. And what from my understanding is that what NAMM's done so effectively is, you got to find the right person at the right time. And you're right, you can't typecast leaders. You can't put me against Joe, against Larry, against Bill Guard, or anyone, because at the time, NAMM needed something very different in 1947 than it needed in 1981, that it needed in 2000, that it needed in 2023. And so, just finding the energy and the skill set at the time. I mean, I have a technology background. I'm an innovative technology background person at a time out of COVID when we had some things to reinvent and we had some technical systems to rework and we had to innovate in a technological way. So I'm sure that played into me getting this job.
Sure.
And, whoever takes this job for me, I hope they have a very different skill set. I hope they have what NAMM needs at the time NAMM needs it.
I think the other thing, and you and I've talked about this before, is just the incredible staff at NAMM, which obviously, was critical to you starting there. But there's some amazing people at NAMM and always have been. Uh, Long history of people in all the different jobs that are so dedicated and work really hard and are smart. And obviously, in your position, that's an incredible situation to come into.
Yeah, no, it's phenomenal. The staff here is every day is a joy. I mean, working with some of the best people in the world, and they're dedicated. I mean, the fun thing about what we get to do and what we get to do is, at the end of the day, we're working in an organization that's sitting around trying to, like, how do we create more music makers in the world? How do we help companies be successful in selling, manufacturing, distributing musical products to reach more music makers in the world? How do we connect them with the right influencers and artists? And how do we, and like every other business, there's all kinds of things we work on. And the trade show is very complex. The NAMM show is just, it's extremely complex. It's multiple systems. It's, so many different contractors and vendors, and everyone has to come together in all the sessions. But, it's the work has so much meaning, and that's why people here are just the best people in the world, because we can end every day fulfilled that we're doing something that makes the world a better place.
Sure. So looking ahead, not too far down the road, and the 2026 show, can you just go over any? Obviously, it's going to be an incredible show, but just anything that might be different. I understand you have an improved registration system, so that's going to make it easier for people to register and get on track, get their hotels, all that kind of thing.
Yeah, so for folks, NAMM Show 2025, 26, yeah, so we'll start there. I mean, what we've been working literally even before the last NAMM Show, but from the second the NAMM Show ended, just upgrading our technology throughout and using just new modern resources. And so, yeah, registration looks a little different this year. We have new profiles on NAMM.org. Everyone creates a profile on NAMM.org that allows your info and your data to stay securely with NAMM. And then we have a registration vendor we're using. We have a new map. We have a new app, a new NAMM Show app that'll launch in 2 weeks. And all of these are designed to make the experience better and more seamless for everyone. And for us to be able to really understand how all of the powerful connections at the NAMM Show are working. So it's a really, really cool system. I know it's a couple different steps that people are used to, but creating profiles on NAMM.org, member companies adding their employees to their company account, because we want to be able to really understand who our companies are. Are you coming to NAMM as an employee of this company? Are you coming to NAMM as an artist? Are you here as an influencer? And how do we make sure the experience you're getting through the app, through who you're finding on the map, through the education sessions, how does that all tie together to make this really successful? So lots of potential for future shows and the data we're going to get from the show. And again, it's just mostly for our use, but just helps us understand who's doing what at the show and where we can add more value and where we need to do better. So really excited about that piece. Under the hood, it's like what you see is the tip of the iceberg. Under the hood, we're operating way more efficiently. So super exciting there. NAMM's again a 5-day show, opens Tuesday, closes Saturday night. I mean, we essentially closes Sunday morning. We got music going all the way through. We have new this year. I mean, it's definitely the 125 anniversary year. So look for, the level of artist and the level of impact that you would expect on an anniversary year. So some really amazing artists that we can't announce yet that are going to be out there. We're opening a couple new things. So we're opening some pre-shows, some pre-exhibit summits. So Tuesday and Wednesday will be full of education sessions and bands playing. But in addition, we've added some half-day and full-day summits this year. And a lot of that's from feedback of people that said, hey, before the exhibits open, I'd like to sit down and really dive deeper into some topics, whether it's like audio, whether it's retail financial, whether it's marketing, whether it's, women of NAMM. So we have, I think 6 already, probably 8 that are going to be total pre-summits on Tuesday and Wednesday that people can sign up for. And, we serve breakfast or we serve lunch. So they're paid summits just to cover the cost of the meal, but it allows people to get a really immersive environment with like a really great speaker. So that's an exciting new venture. For everyone that's waited in line for breakfast for hours for the big breakfast sessions, new this year, we finally did it. We've launched, again, you can still come, first come, first serve, but we've actually launched an express lane. So you can actually now sign up early and you could buy a ticket to get into a VIP entrance and walk right in and get your seat before anyone else can come in. We're hoping this helps, get the traffic a little better. So we have a breakfast express pass, which people have been asking for a long time. So there's some new things there. You'll also see a really big focus on how NAMM gives back. And I think everyone's always known that NAMM exists to give back to the industry. But I say that it's surprising how many just journal attendees that are not like core NAMM members don't realize how much we do as a foundation. So one thing you'll see when you register is that, we're asking everyone to consider a donation to the NAMM Foundation. 100% of NAMM Foundation donations are reinvested in the industry. 100%. The foundation's run by NAMM. There are no operating costs. It is 100% reinvested back into serving the industry. And so we're focusing on asking everyone to contribute to the foundation at any level they are comfortable with, because we're all there to create more music makers worldwide. And so we have a lot of opportunity throughout the NAMM show. You'll see more of that. Of course, we'll have the amazing Grand Rally on Saturday morning. It's a showstopper last year with Jacob Collier. So we have some very exciting people in the wings for that this year. And we'll have the award shows. We'll have the Retail Awards Wednesday night. We'll have Tech Awards Thursday. We'll have She Rocks on Friday. We'll have Parnelli on Saturday. And again, we'll have bands playing all the way up until 2 a.m. on Sunday morning. So it's going to be a wild ride. Hotels are open. Registrations are open. Book early and take advantage of everything. I think one more thing too, I'm just trying to think and make sure I caught everything. The other strategy this year, because we have all the new technology, because of this exciting new stuff, is we're doing everything we can to get out information about what's happening at the show earlier. So I cannot emphasize enough. The app will open September 30th. We've never opened the NAMM Show app that early. We're opening the NAMM Show app earlier than ever. And part of the reason we don't open early is you can imagine like confirming all the final sessions and confirming everything. Sometimes it's not confirmed until really November, December, just getting everyone. But what we decided is let's open the app, let's get people in so they can start interacting with exhibitors, they can start doing networking connections. And we're just going to add, as we confirm sessions, as we confirm bands, as we confirm what's happening at the show, we're just going to update in real time. So once you register, starting in October, you can get the app and you could just see almost daily updates of like how the show evolves and comes together. Because we want to be really transparent with folks about what's coming together. We'll make a big announcement when the sessions schedule is finalized, which I think is slated for like November 11th this year. I have to go November 12th, but I have to go back and check that date. But we're just being really transparent about how everything's coming together, using these new tools and letting people, get ahead and plan sooner to have a better experience.
Great idea. So, looking into the future, um, next 10 years, let's say, what kind of things do you see coming for the show and for the association?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So, the show, what we've what we've landed on is what's driving our philosophy around the NAMM show is core at its core brand experiences. And exhibiting is really important. And we know people want to exhibit, they want to show product, but it's also that brand experience is why the NAMM show has incredible value to the global industry. And what that looks like, and you'll see some of that this year, you'll see more like, again, the app is going to give more opportunities for people to connect with brands, to learn about brands, and maybe even connect to events that brands are holding around the show in a better way because brands go to the NAMM show because they want people, really all communities, to be super hype about their product. And that includes visiting on the show floor. That might include an event for influencers up on the third floor. That might include a special concert with their artist. That might, all for everything in between, a networking event. So we stay true to brand experiences that unite people, so that'll be what you'll constantly see at the NAMM show. And then second to that, and really, not really second, but I mean, mentioned second is all the education. NAMM is the place where the industry comes to get world-class education, whether you're working in a retail store, whether you're working for a manufacturer or distributor, whether you're an artist, whether you're in pro audio, whether you're in recording or studio. We curate education sessions throughout the show so you can come to NAMM as a professional development experience. It's networking, professional development, and brand experiences. And whatever shape the show takes in 10 years, those are the core elements. Brand experience, it's all about the products, networking, and professional development. And so we'll keep modeling based on what this needs to be. And as far as 10 years out, our ability to adapt and try something new based on data we receive in real time is incredible now. So you might see, all sorts of new 27 we try this, but 28 we do this, and 29 we try this. And we've set ourselves up to be that way because the industry is moving and changing and pivoting and adapting really fast. And so we know that we have to have the systems, processes, and people in place to adapt and change and try and pivot just as fast as our industry. And so you'll see that, and you'll see a lot of new every year. And that's what it should be. NAMM in January should be reflective of all opportunities that exist in that calendar year ahead. It shouldn't be reflective of what the year before was. It should be a springboard for what the year ahead is going to be. And every year is going to be different.
For sure.
So we're excited about that piece. As far as the association, I think it's the same answer. We're really focused on we've identified the clear paths of where we have the most value. Industry Insights is a brand that we have, which is data, the global report, which is launching now, as well as other reports we put out every year, continuing to provide insights, then even through Industry Insights, but also through events like NAMM Next. We had a successful event in Europe this year. We had a successful event in Nashville last year. We're continuing those sort of NAMM Next gatherings strategically, which we'll announce more at the NAMM show. We focus on our policy work, and we've been pretty busy on the policy side right now. So, policy work, we're relaunching the Support Music Coalition. We're focusing on workforce development through careers. So, we'll keep true to those core areas: developing a workforce, being the industry's mouthpiece for policy, being the representation of our industry on policy, educating our industry, making sure we're providing data and research, and of course, the resources, the resource center, be in the industry's archives, be in the industry's history, telling the industry's story, making sure the future industry learns from the past industry so we do not make the mistakes of the past, but we only continue to get better. And that's why that resource center, through the oral histories and the archives of what NAMM has, I think is one of the most precious jewels of the industry right now, and something that we're excited about digitizing and making really available. And I'm not going to give up a surprise announcement, but I'll just say that there's a lot of technology out there with AI, and there's a lot of tools that allow large amounts of data to be searched and sorted and learned from in really powerful ways. And so just imagine if you were an association that has 125 years of data and insights and archives and what you could do with that in today's world. Let's just see if a surprise announcement gets made at the NAMM show.
So on a personal note, 2 questions. One is, how do you, manage your time between your busy day and your travel and your family and everything else you're doing? How do you
It's a
it's
good question. That's a really good question, Jim.
strange.
It's a big job, and it's a job that's, there is no such thing as 9 to 5 in this role. I am on all the time, and I love it. I mean, everything I do, I consider myself, um, I'm representing the industry in everything I do, and that's the same as the way I go to the grocery store, the way I interact with people on social media. Like, you're always a representation. I take that very seriously. So, on the flip side, you're always on. I'm so lucky to be supported by an amazing wife, and we are able to, in a lot of ways, she's able to travel with me at times, so we can, if I have to take a long trip, we can work that out because we have flexible schedules. So that's really helpful. I'm, able to take some time in the weekends. I'm very passionate about sailing. So a lot of my decompression is getting on a boat and just focusing on which way the wind is blowing and how much sail power I need at what angle of heel. That's a nice way to just kind of stay, keep the energy moving forward, but focus it on something completely different. So I try to, recharge my batteries on the sea as much as I can and be there for the team. As far as managing my time, I think a lot like I have an amazing staff, and that's the most important thing. The people at NAMM, everything NAMM needs to do, they do not need me for. Like, they've got this. Like, the team is just phenomenal. But I think of it like I was a band director first. So you go into rehearsal, you listen, you say, "Oh, okay, I'm trying to work on this piece. You know what? What's the piece that I could help improve right now? Trumpets. Your melody at bar 20 is the one that's not is kind of you look for the weakest area, and you encourage them on how to improve. Say, "How can I help you? Can we do a sectional after school? Can we do some tuning exercises? Can I motivate you to practice more? Can I be your cheerleader?" And then you listen to the band. Okay, the trumpets are doing better. Ah, trombones. So to me, it's like I come in every day. It's like, what team can I help the most? What team needs a helping hand right now? We're launching registration. So technology right now is making sure all the pieces working. So I'm going to give a little extra love to technology this week. And then marketing has to get all this information out. So next week, what does marketing need? So my time is a lot of like based on who needs a pep talk, who needs extra resources, who needs support. And I'm lucky enough to be surrounded by amazing people that can do all this. I just get to identify where I can help most and who needs to talk to who, and it all works. I think also we're constantly reminding ourselves we're doing this for music makers. Like, there is nothing that happens in this building that we can't do without smiling, supporting each other, and being grateful for the opportunity to serve music makers. And we truly keep that. Even if like, oh, this thing isn't working the way we said and we're launching it, it's like, okay, we'll get there. And we'll get there by caring for each other. So we have a great staff culture, which I'm so blessed to have as well.
Sure. And the other thing is I'm just wondering if you actually have any time at the show to get around and look at the technology that you love.
It's such a good question. So last year, I planned, and I'm gonna do even more this year. So, walking the floor and being visible and just being at NAMM is incredible priority for me. And yes, there's a lot of meetings and a lot of events that I have to introduce, that I get to introduce, that are just so valuable. But last year, I had made plans to wide floor walking time in every day. And then you get to the show and someone wants to meet, and usually it's a lot of international folks that I don't get a chance to see in domestic visits. So I start saying, okay, I can meet you here. By Saturday, I actually had filled every time I had planned to go walk around and be at the show, I had filled with meetings. And I actually had a breakdown. And my this amazing executive assistant, I looked at my calendar Saturday morning and I went to Vanessa, my EA. I said, look, can you please just whatever it takes? I need to walk the floor. Just clear it. Every person that is on my schedule today, I will do a Zoom with them for an hour next week, but I just need to be out there. And so we cleared the day and I walked around all day Saturday and it was great. I'm walking around. I bumped into Uli Behringer and we had a amazing 30-minute conversation, things like that only happen at the NAMM show. And of course, I'm like, so this year, I'm glad you asked because we're starting to make the schedule. I am gonna like commit to that 2 hours a day of like, I will be on the floor visible, visiting every booth strategically hall by hall, no matter what it takes. So if you're trying to meet with me and I say, I love you, but I can't meet, it's truly that. It's just that I need to be out on the floor talking to folks. That's so valuable, and that's something that I can only do at the NAMM show. I will fly, and I do a lot of traveling year round. I'll fly out and meet with you another time.
The one thing that's amazing at the NAMM show is that many cases you actually get the opportunity to meet the people that invented the products. And that to me is amazing. Here's the engineer or the inventor or might even be the CEO. But the you look at this technology and there's the guy. It's like when Les Paul used to attend all the time and he was the most approachable guy imaginable. I met him several times and musically, but also technology in his time. He was a pioneer and you get the chance to walk up and actually talk to him. And there's a lot of the little new companies in Hall 5 where sometimes it's the owner of the company, but sometimes it's not. But it's the actual person. Or if you go to Roland, who have, come up with some incredible products, which you get to meet the guys from Japan that came up with this stuff. And I find that incredible, when you actually get to talk to them.
Yeah, it's the who's who, and that's the beautiful thing. And it's our industry is such a great tight knit community, and we as the industry, like, and I'll speak even before I took this job, we have been so grateful as an industry to have NAMM as an organization for over a century that's keeping us together. And there's not a lot of industries that use the industry and the name of the association interchangeably, but we do. Oh, NAMM. NAMM is the industry. Oh yeah, we are NAMM. We are the industry. We have this like NAMMily thing. We're NAMM family. Oh yeah, the music industry. Well, we're NAMM. I mean, and it's because NAMM has done such a good job of just being there to make sure that everyone's working together and talking under that sort of NAMM association umbrella. And that's why we've been so strong for 125 years because we really focus on. I think Larry Lincoln said this first, or maybe Bill Guard said it and Larry took it from Bill and Joe took it from Larry and I took it from Joe. However, but we're an association. We help people associate. And I think that's the most important thing, just keeping people together, keeping people talking, sharing information. It's amazing that you get the CEOs and the inventors at the show because that's where people associate.
Sure, and that can't be replaced by online or any other way, is seeing people in person and actually getting to meet people that you've heard about for years, and there they are, some of the people that I've met at, NAMM, Eddie Van Halen and Valerie Bertinelli, I met them together, and, one of the amazing ones was I was in the Alfred booth, I think it was, and there was a gentleman sitting there, and I looked at him. I said, "God, I sure know that guy from somewhere." And I said, "Excuse me, sir, but who are you?" It was Henry Mancini. We but he was just sitting there with a badge on as if he was, he worked in the concessions or something. He was so humble. And I sat down and talked to him for a while. And I said, "This is like unbelievable." And that happens, all the time at that Stevie Wonder, and it kind of goes on forever. All the different people that you get a chance to meet that you've
Well,
heard.
it's we think a lot about being an industry show versus, people always ask, is like NAMM a consumer show? And NAMM's not a consumer show. You can't buy at the NAMM show, and you can't just like roll in and like it's not a big shopping mall, but it's musical products and people are excited. And we have a new concept of qualified attendee now where people can qualify if they have a role in the industry, which is a new thing, which is exciting now. But the reason we're not a consumer show is that thing because we work a lot on cultivating a culture that it's comfortable and safe for artists. Like, yes, if a A-list artist is walking around, people are going to come up and talk to them, but they come to the NAMM show because they know that people are gonna come up and they can have conversations, but it's respectful conversation, and so
Right.
we wanna be that industry show where Stevie Wonder can walk through every year, where other folks can come and go check out product and play, and sometimes it's the big A-list artists that are more excited about going and playing with the gear, and it's funny, the artists are sometimes more giddy about meeting the person who designed the instrument that they play than the person who designed is about meeting the artist. 'Cause
Sure.
that's their rock star, you know? And so we do try to cultivate that. We're very, very serious about security, badging, just making sure that everyone can walk around and be safe and have a great time and bump into each other.
Stuff. So thanks a lot, John. It's been great talking to you. And it's not too far away. The time will go very quickly, of course. And I'll see you in January, probably at the Canadian reception.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for all you do, and to all our friends in Canada, we love you, we care for you, we support you. NAMM is a place where you are very welcomed. Please come visit us. We deeply care for you. So thank you so much, Jim.
On that note, thank you very much.